The Cold War was a war between the communist skanks and capitalist pigs, leading to a nuclear arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union. During this time, the U.S. produced close to 30,000 nuclear bombs, while the USSR only produced about 6,000. The roots of the Cuban Missile Crisis can be traced back to when Fidel Castro overthrew the U.S.-backed dictator in Cuba, replacing it with a communist government. The U.S. obviously wasn't fond of this, and attempted invading Cuba and miserably failed. This became known as the Bay of Pigs invasion, and afterwards Cuba strengthened bonds with the USSR to prevent similar conflict. The USSR began sending aid to Cuba and soon materials for nuclear bombs. Nikita Khrushchev saw that since the US had missiles in places like Turkey and Italy that were so close to Russia's borders, that he should move some missiles into Cuba.
Hey, the other nukes. I don't like that.
The US obviously wasn't fond of this, and attempted invading Cuba and miserably failed. This became known as the Bay of Pigs invasion, and afterwards Cuba strengthened bonds with the Soviet Union.
Hey Russia, can you please not put missiles in Cuba?
I think I'll pass. See, the thing is, you have missiles near me, and I'm curious, why can't I have missiles near you?
Because I don't like Curious George, and because I said so. So we're gonna put a blockade around Cuba, so none of your ships can get in.
Oh yeah, well that's an active war. This speech sparked fear into many Americans, and everybody prepared for the worst. Tensions were high, neither side wanted to back down. The threat of nuclear war was looming, and there had to be a diplomatic solution. 5 days later, on October 27, 1962, an American vessel noticed a Russian submarine below them and tried to communicate with them, so they dropped a depth charge to get them to come up. But the Russians saw it as an attack and were ready to launch nuclear torpedoes in retaliation. But one officer thought otherwise and decided to surface, thinking that it could just be a warning, saving many lives and preventing nuclear war from breaking out.
Oh no, they've dropped the nuclear bombs. This is outrageous. Launch the torpedoes.
Yeah, let's show those pigs who they're fighting.
Hold up, wait a minute. Maybe they're trying to get us to surface to talk. Let's find out what's going on and radio the USSR before we decide. But then, to everyone's surprise, on October 27, 1962, the same day that the American vessel and Soviet submarine incident, Nikita Khrushchev offered peace. He had removed the missiles from Cuba in exchange for the U.S. pledging to never invade Cuba. Later, he would demand for the U.S. to remove its missiles from Turkey. Hey, we'll move our missiles out of Cuba if you promise to never invade.
I bet.
Also, you've got to move your missiles out of Turkey.
Sure.
And there it was, the Cuban Missile Crisis.